But again, people really, they just think that music is magic.
Yeah.
And that you either have it or you don't.
That's a myth.
Talents, I'm not talented.
Yeah, that's a complete myth. There are people that have the ability to learn and remember and do things quicker than other people. So, I'm super good buddies, was super good buddies with Neil Peart.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
Oh, wait. He's a
drummist.
He was the flautist for Dexy's Midnight Runners.
That guy. What a flautist.
Lips like a champion.
Looks like a champion.
No, I know. You've told me a lot of great stories about Neil. And
yes.
Yeah, what a guy.
But there's a thing. Everyone's like, well, he was just gifted. Do you know what he was gifted with? Drive. And the ability to just sit there for hours, because nothing came natural to him. And
really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He said, there is nothing I did. He's like, I just didn't stop doing it. And he had enough self-confidence to just do it. And then people started appreciating it. Even later on in life, we talk about my MI music moment. Well, he had his moment when we went back to
the Buddy Rich thing, right?
Buddy Rich, yeah. And I think it was Benny Grebs that I think that's his name.
Right.
The
snare
stuff, And so he had to remake himself. But nothing he did, he said everything he did was hard-earned, really hard-earned, like uncoordinated. He's like, I wasn't a good sports guy. I wasn't a great musician. I was not that guy. But by the time he became one, it was only because he did it over and over and over again.
I guess that takes an awful lot of faith. Mm-hmm. Because I think what I see for a lot of people is they go, well, it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. If I do this, I'm not going to get better. They just can't see.
And if you tell yourself that, you'll make it come true.
Yeah.
If you tell yourself, I'm not going to get better, well, you won't.
Right.
You don't have to sit there with a super ego and say, I'm going to get better. I'm going to be huge. I'm going to be massive. That doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
But what you have to do is I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it, whatever it is, and I'm just going to do it. And then, if I've practiced 5 more minutes on Thursday and 10 more minutes on Friday, on Saturday you will have been 15 minutes better than you were on Wednesday. And that's really all it is. You may not ever be, Van Halen or some, but then when you learn about that kind of person's life, you know about the hours and the obsessiveness and the other elements of their life they gave up to achieve that.
Yeah.
What's the old saying? If you want something, find what it takes to make it, then make it. And that's it. So if you want to play guitar, you can be as good as you want to be. Just find out what the price is and pay it.
Yeah.
There's so much joy to be had. Life is tough, right? And if you're working a full-time gig, as a musician, I have to do other things. I have my sports hobbies, which we've discussed. Mm-hmm. I spent hours practicing that because it takes me away from this. There are times when this is too overwhelming, and I approach that in the same manner. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, out in the backyard, so my sports hobbies, I will do that to get me away from this. And so for a lot of people, music is that thing that carries them away from their everyday life and creates a joy, because there's no magic unicorns or rainbows that makes you happy in your life. Your happiness is built, or your satisfaction in your life is built up of the things you create. Like Neil used to love motorcycle riding.
Oh, yeah.
And, he was terrible at it and crap.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, in the beginning, absolutely.
Because you're a hell of a cyclist yourself.
I tried to be, and trying to keep up with him. So
Yeah.
By the time I got to him, he'd been riding, 10 or 15 years. He was damn good, which almost got me killed a couple times.
Oh, you mean he wasn't good?
In the beginning.
In the beginning, okay.
The beginning.
So by the time you hooked up with him.
He was good.
Oh, okay.
Only because he got back on it. He
Right.
got back on it. He got back on it. But that took him away from the music. And then by the time in the late 90s, the deal was he would not tour unless he got to ride in between shows. Because if he didn't have that outlet, and it's the same thing. Let's say I'm a businessman. I'm running a business, and I'm working a corporate job. I'm doing anything. I get home, man. I'm tired. I'm worn out. I got the kids. You know what? Make music that reward. Practicing is the reward. Do you know what I mean? It's like people are like, because I'll never get to do a gig. Yeah, so what? you know, I'm not doing many gigs right now. You know, it's like, but I still practice a lot because that is the reward. You know, so practice is the reward.